Wellness for Life is brought to you by Perham Physical Therapy, Gothenburg Chiropractic Clinic, Mojave Ottawa Community Action Partnership, CHI St. Joseph's Health Weight Management Center, and Natural Alternatives.
Well, hello. My name is Karen Lenius, and I am employed by Mojave Ottawa Community Action Agency. This is part of the wellness segments that we've been doing in connection with Layton, and our topic for today is Medicare. We all know that health insurance and your coverage is an important part of determining your overall quality of life. So we want to talk a little bit about Medicare as we approach what is termed in the Medicare world open enrollment. Now, open enrollment runs from the 15th of October till the 7th of December. And what that means is that that is the time in the calendar year when you may decide to switch to a different drug plan based on new medications perhaps that you've been prescribed, or new coverages, new formularies that some plans develop. You do not have to make a change at this time, but I do encourage all seniors and all disabled individuals who have Medicare coverage that they should take this opportunity to go to the website medicare.gov. You'll have the opportunity there to fill in the prescriptions that you take, and there, through the course of their website, they will actually prioritize which Medicare drug plan will actually provide you the best coverage for the prescriptions that you're currently taking. Very cost effective, very easy to use. It is a website that is designed to help seniors and their family members actually do it themselves. It should not require the assistance of a professional, but again, as Becker County Senior Coordinator, I can offer some guidance to you. Our number here at Mojave is 218-847-1385. I would be glad to have you either make an appointment with me, and we will do that together sometime during the month of November. Or if you get a partial way at your home, if you call me, I can talk you through it and help you get to resolution for that particular problem. Again, in 2017, there are 22 drug plans under the Medicare umbrella in the state of Minnesota. Some of them are designed for particularly chronic diseases. Some of them are designed for people who take hardly no medication. And so there's a big gamut of differences. So just because your neighbor has had wonderful luck with one drug plan doesn't mean that that's necessarily the same one that you should choose with your particular prescriptions in mind. They're very individualistic. And again, what might be good for you or your husband does not apply to the general population. It's just for the one person with those particular prescription needs. Of course, it's important to reevaluate and always get your doctor's permission or encouragement. Always ask his input. If you actually are prescribed a new drug and you begin to realize that this is very cost prohibitive for me, it is always an appropriate thing for you to say to your doctor, you know, this new prescription that you prescribed is too expensive for me. Is there something cheaper that I could try? Can you help me perhaps get some assistance to pay for this? It is always an okay thing for you to have that conversation with your doctor. Many doctors will prescribe and not give a thought to the cost of the medication. Another good person to have in your corner is your local pharmacist. It's very important for the pharmacist to keep a running track of all the medications that you've been prescribed. Often people see different doctors, so this one doctor may not be aware of all the different kinds of medications that you have been prescribed. So your pharmacist will be the person who says, oh, you know what, you just got prescribed this one medication, and perhaps it will work against something else. So please keep your doctor and your pharmacist in mind. They are your very best friends. Again, Medicare Part D, open enrollment, October 15th till December 7th. Contact me, Karen Lenius, here at Mojave, 218-847-1385 for assistance. Thank you.
Coming up on Wellness for Life.
Hi, my name is Ernest Hutta. I'm the director and founder of Natural Alternatives in Monaga, Minnesota. And today we're going to cover a very brief overview of one issue that we see in the clinic on almost weekly basis, and that is people who come in suffering with chronic sinus problems. And chronic sinus problems can be created by allergy issues, infection, injuries, or blows to the face that have injured or damaged the sinus cavity. They can be associated with neurological issues involving the cervical spine. A lot of the chiropractic world has done a very good job of establishing that fact. But today we're going to approach it from a totally different perspective. And I have an overlay that kind of gives you a little sense of what the sinus cavity looks like in the human body. So we're seeing a combination of what is called the frontal sinuses, and then also the major maxillary sinuses around the cheekbones and the sinus cavity. You also have the ethmoid and the sphenoid sinus structure over the bridge of the nose, and that feeds in and around the eyes. The key to this issue is that most of the even medication alternatives, therapeutic alternatives are spent around addressing the frontal structure. But let me give you a little overlay here to help you understand some recent research that was done by the National Institutes of Health, in which this is an old chart of what a lymphatic structure used to look like in the human body, and this is now the new chart that shows major lymphatic structure in and around the cranium, the entire brain and the head, and a major ventricular drainage point that goes down into the back of the neck. So when people have chronic sinus issues, where does all this mucus and this waste go to? Well, sometimes people will feel, post-sinus drainage in the back of their throat. Sometimes they're blowing it from their nose. Their ears will get congested and plugged up. But the reality is, many times when we appropriately get this posterior drainage structure in the back of the neck opened up, all of a sudden the entire issue of the sinus component disappears or is alleviated dramatically. And that's not to say that there aren't some people who have chronic allergy issues that need appropriate antidotes and medications to treat those, or if they have an infection, they need to go in and get care. But ultimately, there's still going to be a residual impact that we come in our clinic address, and people come in and say, hey, I've just been suffering this for years, and it's just never-ending issue. We go in and take care of it, approaching it from both of these two perspectives that we talked about, one involving the frontal drainage system. So today, for the sake of time, I have a set of pads that are hooked up on her face as she's laying face down here on the maxillary major drainage system. Then I also have one on the frontal drainage system in the top of the head, and then another pad hooked up down to her sacrum. Why the sacrum? Well, the entire cerebral spinal fluid structure flows up and down over the human spine from top to bottom, and it cycles back and forth. And that drainage system of the head is tied into this whole cerebrospinal structure. Waste is eliminated via lymphatics, and the sinus cavity gets rid of that. What we're going to try to do is to see if we can help facilitate opening this up. So, as I explained earlier, this chronic sinus issue is directly connected to this major lymphatic network. So I'm going to go in, and I've got the pads hooked up again to her sinuses on the front of her face, and I'm going to go in and help facilitate moving that entire lymphatic structure in the back of her neck, because as I'm moving this with this probe and using the electroacuscope, a very, very powerful microcurrent tool, as I'm using this probe going through her entire neck and suboccipital area, I'm also facilitating current that is going right through these sinus cavities in the front of her face and forehead. And many times these sinus cavities will get so impacted that doctors even have to do surgery to go in and try to open them up. Our goal is to avoid that surgery. We can use microcurrent therapy and go in and help facilitate breaking up the compacted waste in the sinus structure, and using the posterior lymphatic drainage structure, we can also get that out of the body so that ultimately those sinus cavities are freed up. So again, if you've been suffering with chronic sinus headaches, chronic allergy issues, and you've tried everything trying to get help and relief for it, To me, this is an alternative that you want to look at. Come into our clinic in Monaga. We have Dr. Mark Wheaton on staff, Dr. Dave Gottenborg, Dr. Dave Andrus, who are chiropractors, and Dr. Mark Wheaton is a sports medicine physician, and myself. And we collectively work together to address these issues. So sometimes it's involving a chiropractor helping facilitate the care. Sometimes it's an unstable cervical that needs attention from Dr. Mark Wheaton. So again, our goal is to give you some alternative options and ways to treat this instead of surgery, drugs, or other things that can have some long-term negative impacts. So look at the trailer, come and check us out at Natural Alternatives in Monaga, Minnesota. Welcome.
Thank you for watching Wellness for Life. Brought to you by Perham Physical Therapy, Gottenborg Chiropractic Clinic, Mojave Ottawa Community Action Partnership, CHI St. Joseph's Health Weight Management Center, and Natural Alternatives.